Apologies for keto disrupting. Alright, chapter 8. Journey into the interior. Him as well as without. Then the only hope was for them to become small enough to go into one of his mitochondria and see what was happening with the farandole. Metron Ariston. Calvin spoke. Anyhow, Meg looked at Sporos. We're already... If she had tried to imagine a farandole, it would not have looked like Sporos. Miss Jerome! This is all over my head. I will only be a hindrance to the children. You had better send me back to my school. At least there... Gotta accommodate the cat. I lost my place. I was not surprised for you. I cannot tell you why you have full implications of this are not yet clear to me. Arms, embracing them all in a gesture. The mitochondrion to which I am sending you is known as Yada. It is Sporos' birthplace. Sporos danced around, twinkling in outrage. Meg shouted at him. If you are in Charles Wallace, if he's your galaxy, you couldn't be in a more special place. Louise sent her sibilant song toward Meg. All anger vanished when Meg caught from Louise's song another projection of Charles. Huddled under the blankets, his mother lifted him to prop him up on pillows to ease his labored breathing, then pulled down the blankets so that Dr. Louise could listen to his heart with her stethoscope. She looked up gravely, and Meg understood that she was suggesting that perhaps they had better call Brookhaven. Oxygen, then, Meg cried out to Louise the larger and Black Jenny. Wouldn't oxygen help Charles? For a while, Dr. Kalubra will see to that when the time comes. Tears rushed to Meg's eyes. Oh, Louise, take care of him. Don't let him stop fighting. Mr. Jenkins asked, would anybody in his right mind let a snake near a sick child? Dr. Louise will, Meg said. I'm sure she will. From something she said in Mother's lab the other night. Blageni, is Dr. Louise a teacher too? Blageni nodded. Meg's heart gave a leap of hope. Snakes, Mr. Jenkins murmured. Mitochondria, ecthroi. Meg swallowed a hiccupy sob, took off her glasses and wiped the tear-smeared lenses. Mr. Jenkins looked at her and spoke in his most stilted, academic voice. Man, the mean point in the universe, and Charles Wallace, is that it? At this moment in time, Charles Wallace is the point of equilibrium? Blageni nodded gravely. So what happens with his mitochondrion farandole? He looked to Meg for explanation. She tried to pull herself together. Remember, Mr. Jenkins, you're great on Benjamin Franklin's saying, we must all hang together, or assuredly we will all hang separately. That's how it is with human beings and mitochondria and farandole. And our planet, too. I guess in the solar system, we have to live together in harmony or we won't live at all. So if something is wrong with Charles Wallace's mitochondria, her voice trailed off. Mr. Jenkins shook his head. What can we do? What can we possibly hope to do? Then he cried out in horror. Oh no. The pseudo Mr. Jenkins they had seen before was moving rapidly toward them. Louise reared her black coils upward with a horrible hiss. Something so Quickly, Blajeni spread his arms wide, pulling Mr. Jenkins, Sporos, and Calvin into their span. Projanowski's caught Meg. Within the strength of his wings, the beat of his heart, she seemed to become part of the cherubim's heartbeat. The oval pupil dilated, and she went through to... She could not tell where they were. She could only sense the presence of the others, as through a vast, echoing tunnel she heard Blajeni. I would show you something to encourage you before you go. Meg looked about. Ahead of her was a tremendous rhythmic swirl of wind and flame, but it was wind and flame quite different from the cherubims. This was a dance ordered and graceful, and yet giving an impression of complete and utter freedom, of ineffable joy. As the dance progressed, the movement accelerated, and the pattern became clear, closer, wind and fire moving together. That was a plane. So to speak. Oh dang, you guys got me to 1.6 thousand likes already? There are like 6 of us in here. That's impressive. Thank you. Thank you for the likes. As the dance progressed, the movement accelerated, and the pattern became clearer, closer, wind and fire moving together, and there was joy and song, melody soaring, gathering together as wind and fire united, and then wind, flame, dance, song, cohered in great winding, leaping, dancing, single sphere. Meg heard Mr. Jenkins incredulous. What was that? Blajeni replied, the birth of a star. Mega Flick, yes! Thank you so much. Thank you for all the likes, you guys. I appreciate it so much. Mr. Jenkins protested. But it's so small, I could hold it in the palm of my hand. And then an indignant snort. How big am I? You must stop thinking about size, you know. It is both relative and irrelevant. At this point, Meg could not be bothered with size. She wanted to know something else. Progo, will that star be named? He calls them all by name, the cherubim said. Meg looked in wonder at the star. It was indeed so small that she could have reached out and caught it in her hand, but its flaming was so intense that the song itself came out of the fire and was part of the burning. She thought in wonder, I must be the size of a galaxy. And then all thoughts dissolved in the glory of the melody and the dance. Blajeni's voice came like thunder. Now. She was pulled into Projanowski's again, and into the beat of the heart, great heart, into the darkness of the eye, into the... No. She was being consumed by flame. She sensed a violent jolt to the cosmic rhythm, a distortion of wildest harmony. She tried to scream, but no sound came. She felt pain so intense that she could not bear it another second. Another second, and the pain would annihilate her entirely. Then the pain was gone, and she felt once again the rhythm of the cherubic heart. Very rapid, faintly irregular. Did it have to hurt that much? Shock and pain made her loud and angry. Her limbs trembled weakly. Projanowski seemed to be having trouble. His heart continued to race unevenly. She thought she understood him to say, we had a brush with an ekthros. Her own breathing was a shallow painting. She felt that she was all there, all her atoms reassembled, that she was Meg. And yet, when she opened her eyes, she could see nothing but a strange, deep green blackness. She listened, and through what seemed at first to be a sound somewhat like the shrilling of insects in a summer night, she thought she could hear, or perhaps feel, a steady, regular pulsing. Progo, where are we? Yada. Baby Bell, like in the aw. Thank you, Jazz. How are you doing? Oh man, we're already at 3.1 thousand likes. You guys are amazing. Was the beast a lion? I don't know what kind of beast he was. He was like a mix of something, I think. So we're reading A Wrinkle in Time trilogy. We're on the second book, A Wind in the Door, and this is chapter 8. And if you're needing to catch up, all of my previous chapters are on my YouTube channel. You mean we are in Charles Wallace? In one of the mitochondria? Yes. It was not conceivable. What's that sort of thrumming I feel? Is it Charles Wallace's heartbeat? Prochanovsky smoothed negation in her mind. It's the rhythm of Yada. It feels like a heartbeat. Megling, we're not in Earth time now. We're within Yada, in Farandole time. Charles Wallace's heart beat something like once a decade. She shivered. Her arms and legs still felt trembly and useless. She blinked, trying to adjust her eyes to the darkness. Progo, I can't see. Nobody in the interior can see, Meg. Eyes aren't needed. Her heart beat in frightened counterpoint to the rhythm of the mitochondrion. She could not pay proper attention as Prochanovsky said. It's what might be called a circadian rhythm. All life needs rhythm too. She interrupted. Progo, Blajini, I can't move. She felt Prochanovsky's within her thoughts. His own thinking had calmed considerably. He was recovering from whatever it was that had frightened him and caused her so much pain. Blajini did not come with us. Why? There was no time for silly questions. Why is it silly? Why can't I see? Why can't I move? Meg, you must stop panicking, or I won't be able to kite with you. We won't be able to help each other. She made a tremendous effort to calm down, but with each heartbeat she felt only more tense, more frightened. How could her heart be pounding so rapidly if Charles Wallace's beat only once a decade? Prochanovsky thought noisily at her. Time isn't any more important than size. All that is required of you is to be in the now, in this moment which has been given to us. I don't feel like myself. I'm not myself. I'm part of Charles Wallace. Meg, you are named forever. But Progo, say the multiplication table. Now who's being silly? Megleen, it will help bring you back to yourself. Try. I can't. Her mind felt battered and numb. She could not even remember enough to count to 10. What's 7 times 8? She responded automatically. 56. What's the product of 2/3 in 5, or 2 divided by 3 and 5 divided by 7? Her 2/3 by 7. Her mind world cleared. 10/21. What's the next prime number after 67? 71. Can we think together now? There were considerable concern in Prochanovsky's questioning. The concentration the cherubim had thrust on Megig had calmed her panic. I'm okay. Where's Calvin? Where's Mr. Jenkins? And that's Boros. They're all here. You'll be able to kite with them soon, but first we have to find out what the second test is. Oh, thank you for the likes. Thank you for the likes and the gifts. Made it, yes! Yes, yes! Thank you guys. Oh my goodness, we're at 4.6 thousand likes. The more likes we get, the more people will be able to see it and hopefully enjoy story time. I appreciate all the likes and the follows and the gifts. I appreciate it so much, you guys. So, we're reading Wrinkle in Time trilogy. We're on the second book, A Wind in the Door, in chapter 8. Find out? Her mind was still blurred from pain and fright. He was patient with her. As we found out what the first test was. You guessed that, she said. Do you know what this one is? I think it has to do with Sporos. But what? This is what we must discover. Oh my gosh, we're at 5,000. That is crazy. You're going to town. Thank you. We have to hurry then. She tried to check her impatience. Meg, I have to work with you and Mr. Jenkins together, because he isn't capable of letting me move about in his mind as you can, so you'll have to help. The grown Farandole don't talk the way people do. They kite. Like cherubim? Some of the ancient ones, yes. With younger ones, it's a little closer to what you called mental telepathy. I cannot say that word. Telepathy. Never mind the degree. Mr. Jenkins can't understand Kythian at all, and you'll have to help him. I'll try, but you'll have to help me, Brago. Stretch out your right hand. I can't move. That doesn't matter. Move your hand in your mind. Kythe it. Kythe that Mr. Jenkins is standing by you, and that you're reaching out to hold his hand. Are you doing it? I'm trying. Can you feel his hand? I think so, at least. I'm making believe I can. Hold it tightly, so that he knows you're there. Her hand, which was no longer her hand in any way she had known before, nevertheless moved in the remembered pattern, and she thought she felt a slight pressure in return. She tried to kythe to the principal. Mr. Jenkins, are you there? Here. It was like an echo of a faintly remembered voice, hoarse with chalk dust, but she knew that she and Mr. Jenkins were together. Oh my gosh, thank you for the Rose Kings! I can, sounds good. Telepathy. Telepathy. Why can't I can say that word before? Alexa, how do you say telepathy? Why do I keep doing that?
Sorry, I missed something. Can you say it again?
I can't say it. Why? Like, I know how to say it, but I can't say it. I'm doing good. I can't say that word. It's like my mind is frozen. Telepathy. I keep wanting to say like tilapia. Tilapia. Telepathy. Oh my goodness. No, say I do. Alexa, how do you say telepathy?
I pronounce that telepathic, but I'm always working on how I say things, and I might not have it right.
I keep wanting to say tilapia. Telepath. Why am I trying to say tilapia? Telepathy. 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 Alexa, how do you say telepathy?
I pronounce that love happy, but I'm always working on how I say
telepathy.
Things, and I might not have it right.
Telepathy. My mind keeps thinking tilapia. Telepathy. Okay, telepathy. That's easy. Tilapia sounds like a little town in South Africa. Man, that's a trip. It's like the green, or not, the gold blue shirt, like your eyes see green or gold sometimes, but then your eyes see blue sometimes. Fish, I know. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Moving on. Meg, you will have to kythe him everything I tell you. If I move into his mind, I hurt him. He can't absorb my energy. Now try to translate simultaneously for him. Make him see that a grown Farandole's matter does not move, except as a plant does, or a tree when there is no breeze to cause its motion, or as the great kelp forests move. A grown Farandole moves by kything. Kything is not going to be easy for Mr. Jenkins, because it has been a great many years since he's known himself, his real self. Meg sighed with a kind of anxious fatigue, suddenly realizing the enormous amount of energy taken by this intense kything. The cherubim moved lightly, swiftly within her, and his kything moved through and beyond her senses to an awareness she had never known before. She groped to contain it in images which were within Mr. Jenkins' comprehension. The sea, a vast, curving, never-ending sea. It was as though they were at sea, deep down under the water's surface, deeper than a whale can dive. The surface of the sea, and any light which might penetrate the surface, was hundreds of fathoms away. In the dark depths there was movement which was part of the rhythm she had mistaken for Charles Wallace's heartbeat. The movement assumed shape and form, and images were kythed to her mind's eye. Visual projections superimposed swiftly one over the other. She tried to send them to Mr. Jenkins. A primordial fern forest. Good evening. Hello, hello. To take on... I actually dislike fish. You've been watching too much Nickelodeon. Especially if Tilapia doesn't exist, right? Good evening. So anybody here? We are reading A Wind in the Door. It's the second book of the Wrinkle in Time trilogy. We're in chapter 8. If you want to catch up, I have all the previous chapters uploaded on my YouTube channel. A giant bed of kelp swaying to submarine currents. A primeval forest of ancient trees with rough, silver bark. Underwater trees with silver, gold, green foliage, which undulated regularly, rhythmically, not as though the long fronds were being blown by wind or current, but of their own volition, like the undulation of those strange sea creatures halfway between plant life and animal life. To the visual images, music was added, strange, unearthly, rich, and surging song of the surrounding sea. Farandole. She felt confusion and questioning from Mr. Jenkins. To him, Farandole were little scampering creatures like Sporos, not like the sea trees she had been trying to show him. Projanowski's kythed. The sea trees, as you call them, are what Sporos will become when he deepens. They are then called Fera. Once he has deepened, he will no longer have to run about. A grown Fera is far less limited than a human being is by time and place, because Ferae can be with each other any time and any place. Distance doesn't separate them. They move without moving? Meg asked. You might put it that way. Am I to learn to move without moving too? Yes, Meg. There's no other way in a mitochondrion. There's nothing for you to stand on in Yada, and no space for you to move through. But because you're an earthling, and earthlings excel in adaptability, you can learn this motionless motion. Are you translating from Mr. Jenkins? I'm trying. Keep on, Meg. We'll have time to rest later, unless... She felt a small, sharp pain, which was immediately withdrawn. Some of the ancient ones can kythe not only from mitochondrion to mitochondrion within their human hosts, but to farandole on mitochondria on other human hosts. Do you remember how shocked Sporos was when Calvin told him that human beings can't do that kind of thing? Yes, but Progo, Mr. Jenkins doesn't understand about Sporos running around like a toy mouse. I don't understand it either. He isn't a bit like the sort of sea things you just showed us. Sporos is, as he said, only a child, although he was juggling chronologies when he said he was born yesterday. A Farandola, well into adolescence, has already passed through its early stages and taken root and is becoming a grown Fera. It is nearly time for Sporos to leave childhood and deepen. If he does not, it will be another victory for the Ecthroi. But why wouldn't he deepen? Calvin is having trouble kything with him. Sporos is holding back. We have to help him deepen, Meg. That's our second test. I'm sure it is. To make an unwilling Sporos deepen It seemed a more impossible ordeal than naming one of the 3 Mr. Jenkinses. How do we do it? He countered with another question. Are you calm? Calm? Then once again, she moved into that strange place, which is on the other side of feeling. With one part of herself, she knew that she was in Charles Wallace, actually inside her brother, that she was so small that she couldn't be seen in the most powerful microelectron microscope, or heard in the microsonar scope. She knew, too, that Charles Wallace's life depended on what was going to happen now. She was beginning to get a glimmer of what Projanowski's meant when he talked about the dangers of feeling. She held herself very still, very cold, then turned toward the cherubim in quiet kything. Oh my gosh, you guys are insane. Thank you so much. NJ, hello. Thank you for the roses. Let's go, Lurk. I love it. How are you? Good evening, good evening. Oh my gosh, Lyndon, thank you for the likes. NJ, thank you for the likes. Oh my goodness, Southees, thank you for the likes. You guys are so amazing. I appreciate you all. Alright. Let's go. Let's go. Your face, my face. Just smile. I have proper lighting. I have proper lighting for my TikTok lives. Alright. She returned to the strange world which was below light, below sound, penetrated only by the rhythm of tides pulled by the moon, by the sun, by the rhythm of the earth itself. She became one with the kything, deepened creatures moving in the intricate patterns of song, of the loveliness of rhythm and joy. What a nice surprise! My heart! Y'all think we can get to 15,000? Oh my gosh, like, considering we're almost at 11,000 within like a couple minutes at this rate. You guys are amazing, thank you. Then a coldness came, a horrible, blood-freezing chill. Tendrils were drawn back, pulled away from her, isolating themselves, isolating Meg, Projanowski's, each other. The song jerked out of rhythm, out of tune, rejecting her. Something was wrong, horrifyingly wrong. 20,000, oh my gosh. She felt Projanowski's hurling himself at her, into her. Meg, that's enough for now. We must be with the others. Calvin, Mr. Jenkins, Sporos before. Before what? Before the second test. We must all be together. Open. Kythe to Calvin. Where is he? It doesn't matter where he is, Meg. You've got to get it through your head that where doesn't make any difference in mitochondrion. It's why and how and who. Calvin. She seemed to feel every muscle in her body straining and protesting at the strain. You're trying too hard, the cherubim said. Relax, Megleen. You kythe with me without all that effort. You and Calvin often kythe without realizing it. And when Charles Wallace knows when something's upset you at school, knows it even before you come home, that's kything. Just be Meg. Open. Be. Kythe. Through the darkness of undersea, she kythed. Calvin. Meg. Where are you? Projanowski's flicked sharply at her. Forget where. How are you? All right. A little confused by everything. Sporos. Where? No, how is Sporos? Meg, he doesn't want to kythe or be with me. He doesn't want to share his world. He says that human beings are unworthy, and that may be so, but she felt a swirling of kything all around her, as though the words and images of the kything were the drops of water which go to make up the ocean, drops of water which are not separate one from the other as human beings are separate. Within the flowing of the deep tides, images flashed by, many little creatures like Sporos, scampering about, carefree, merry, always in the protection of the great kelp fern trees, the deepened ones, about which they flitted and fluttered. Are you translating for Mr. Jenkins? Choo-choo! Train incoming! Oh my gosh! You guys! Oh, there we go! We're getting it! We're getting it! You guys are awesome. So we're reading A Wind in the Door of the Wrinkle of Time trilogy. We're in chapter 8. I'm trying, Progo, but I'm not sure I really can feel him. I know that I'm with you and with Calvin, but Mr. Jenkins, be with him, Meg. He needs you. He's frightened. If Blagini wanted him along, there must be a reason for it, but it seems to me he's an awful liability. She thought she felt a sin distant. I'm aware of that. She stretched herself toward that faint response. Mr. Jenkins? That's right, Projanowski said. Remember, he hasn't much imagination. Or rather, it's been frozen for a long while, and hasn't had time to thaw. You'll have to kite your whole self to him. You'll have to hold his hand, tightly, so that he can feel you and return your kite. Can you feel his hand? I imagine so. Can he feel you? Mr. Jenkins! Mr. Jenkins? She kithed questioningly. Wait a minute. Progo, Cal. I'm not sure. Something's wrong. She broke off, gasped. Calvin, Progo, With every particle of herself she screamed. Not a scream made with her voice, but with all of her. A scream of pain that was beyond terror. It was the same pain that had torn across the galaxy when Projanowski's had shown her the Exine of the Ecthroi. It was the pain which had slashed across the sky in the schoolyard when she had named Mr. Jenkins. It was the pain which had almost annihilated her when Projanowski's took her the strange journey through his eye to Yada. She was being X'd. Oh my gosh. Alright, we're gonna go ahead to chapter 9. Farandole and Mitochondria. This was the end of Meg. Uh-oh, Jazz! Hi! There was to be no more anything, ever. Exit Meg. Ex-Meg. Ex-Meg. Then she realized that if she could think this, if she could think it all, then it was not happening. One who is exed cannot think. The pain still burned like ice, but she could think through it. She still was. 14,000, oh my gosh. NJ, thank you so much for sending those likes. Thank you so much. Two-Face, Nemo, thank you for the likes. Thank you guys. Oh, you guys are awesome. With all of her, she kithed away from the Xness. Progo, Calvin, help me. Through her cries, she felt the cherubim. Meg, I name you. You are. And then numbers. Numbers moving as strong and steady and rhythmic as tide. Calvin. He was sending numbers to her. Calvin was sending back to her those first trigonometry problems they had done together. She held on to the strength of numbers as to a lifeline. Until the Ecthroi pain was gone, and she was free to move back into the realm of words again. Human words, which were much easier for Calvin than numbers. Calvin, she called, oh Calvin. And then her kithing was an anguished longing for her parents. Where was her father? Had Dr. Louise or her mother called Brookhaven? What had they told her father? Was he on his way home? And her mother? She wanted to retreat, reverse, revert, to climb back into her mother's lap as she had done when she was Charles Wallace's age, and needed healing from some small hurt. No, Meg. She felt as though gentle fingers were pushing her down, forcing her to walk alone. She tried to kite, to get her mind's voice into focus, sent its beam at last to Projanowski's and Calvin. What happened? She felt a series of major earthquakes before Projanowski's managed words for her. Whatever it was that had happened, it had certainly upset the cherubim. He kithed at last. As though once weren't enough, when you reached out for Mr. Jenkins' hand, you got an ekthros, Mr. Jenkins. Now we know that at least one of them followed us here. How? Not through Mr. Jenkins, though it's still using a Jenkins body. Perhaps Sporos. Sporos? Pride has always been the downfall of the deepening ones. Sporos may have listened to an ekthros. We aren't sure. What did you do? How did you get me away from it? It hurt. It hurt more than I knew anything could hurt. And then I felt you naming me. Progo and you, Cal, you were sending numbers to me. And the pain went and I was back into myself again. I'm just sitting like... Well, if you want to know the story, I do have all the previous chapters on my YouTube channel, so you can catch up. And if you don't, it's just relaxing. Calvin kithed. Projanowski's got a lot of little farandole to rush up and tickle the ekthros, Mr. Jenkins. It was so startled it let you go. Where is it now? The ekthros, Mr. Jenkins. Projanowski's was sharp. It doesn't matter where, Meg. It's here. It's with us in Yada. Then we're still in danger from it? All Yada is in danger. Every mitochondrion in this human host is in danger. This human host? Projanowski's did not reply. This human host was Charles Wallace. What are we going to do? There was another volcanic upheaval before Projanowski's replied. We must not give way to panic. She kithed Calvinward and felt him returning the kithing. She asked, Did you know what was happening to me? Not at first. Then Progo told me. There was a terrible quietness to Calvin's reply. She felt that he was holding something back from her. The little farandole, the ones who saved me, are they all right? There was silence. Are they all right, the little farandole who startled the ekthros and saved me? No. The kithing came reluctantly from both Calvin and Projanowski's. It went to the door, but yes, thank you, Jazz. Yes, it is a favorite book of mine. Series. What happened to them? To surprise an ekthros is not a safe thing to do. The ekthros exed them? No, Meg. They exed themselves. That's a very different matter. What will happen to them now? Projanowski's kithed slowly. I've never seen it happen before. I've heard about it, but I've never seen it. Now I understand more than I used to. The farandole are known by name just as the stars are. That's all I need to know. You haven't told me anything. Where are the little farandole that saved me? If they X themselves, then where are they? She heard a faint. Where doesn't matter, Meg. You must get in touch with Mr. Jenkins, the real Mr. Jenkins. Instinctively, she withdrew her kithing. I don't dare try again. Do you have any idea how much that hurt? Your scream shook the entire mitochondrion. I only hope it didn't hurt Charles Wallace. She flinched, then held on to something she wasn't sure what, but it felt like a lifeline. After a moment, she knew that it was coming from the cherubim, an outflowing of love so tangible that she could hold on to it. Reach for Mr. Jenkins, Projanowski's urged. Name him for himself again. See how much you've been able to kithe to him. And remember, you have to go at his speed, not your own. Why? He's holding us back. Hush, Meg, Calvin kithed. Adults take longer at this kind of thing than we do. particularly adults like Mr. Jenkins, who hasn't tried new thoughts for a long time. But we don't have time, Charles Wallace. I said it takes longer than we do, and that's true. But sometimes the adults can go deeper than we can if we're patient. We don't have time to be patient. Meg, trust Blajini. Mr. Jenkins must be with us for a reason. Help him. Do what Progo says. Projanowski kithed urgently. We may need Mr. Jenkins to get Sporos to deepen. Blajini wouldn't have sent him unless... Oh, Meg, a teacher never does anything without reason. Try to reach Mr. Jenkins, Meg. She pushed her terror aside and opened herself to Kythine, and she was with Charles Wallace. Not within him, not without him, but with him. Part of his exhaustion, his terrifying energy loss, his struggle to breathe. Oh, fight, Charles. Don't stop struggling. Breathe. Breathe. I'll try to help. I'll do anything I can to help even. Then, she was with the twins. Charles Wallace, she thought, had sent her. Hey, Zizi! Hello! How are you? Oh yeah, we're at 15,000. Thank you, Southern! The twins were in the garden, digging grimly, spading up and turning under the old tomato plants. The frost blackened zinnias, the lettuce gone to seed, turning them under to enrich the earth for the next spring, the next planting, with set faces working silently, taking out their anxiety over Charles Wallace and physical labor. Sandy broke the silence. Where's Meg? Then he paused, his foot on his pitchfork as he pressed it into the earth. She should be getting home from school soon. Charles Wallace said she isn't in school. He said that Meg is in him. I heard him. Charles Wallace is delirious. Have you ever seen anyone die? Only animals. I wish Meg would come home. So do I. They went on with the preparation of the garden for the winter cold and snow. If the twins' job is simply to take care of their garden, Meg told herself, your job is to reach Mr. Jenkins. Where? Nowhere. Just Mr. Jenkins. Mr. Jenkins. Mr. Jenkins. You are you and nobody else, and I named you. I'm Kythine, Mr. Jenkins. Here I am, me, Meg. You know me, and I know you. She thought she heard a sniff, a Mr. Jenkins sniff. Then he seemed to recede again. This minuscule undersea world was totally beyond his comprehension. She tried to kythe to him once more all the images and earth equivalents which she had received, but he responded with nothing beyond anxious blankness. Name him, Projanowski urged. He is afraid to be. When you named him in the schoolyard, that was Kythine. That was how you knew him from the two Ecthroi, Mr. Jenkins. How you must know him this time. Mr. Jenkins, unique, as every star in the sky is unique, every leaf on every tree, every snowflake, every farandole, every cherubim, unique, named. He gave Calvin shoes, and he didn't have to come with us to this danger and horribleness. But he did. He chose to throw in his lot with us when he could have gone back to school and his safe life as a failure. Yes, but for an unimaginative man to come with them into the unimaginably infinitesimal unknown isn't the kind of thing a failure does. Nevertheless, Mr. Jenkins had done it, and was doing it. Mr. Jenkins, I love you. She did. Without stopping to think, she put her imagined hand into his. His fingers were slightly damp and chill, just as clammy as she always had thought Mr. Jenkins' hand would be. And real. Guys. Let's see. So, that was the end of chapter 9. So we have 3 more chapters left to finish this book. The second book. And then we're on to the third book of the trilogy, the last part of the trilogy. So, I'll probably be able to read the next chapters tomorrow night. Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna head to bed. So, thanks everybody. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And have a wonderful evening. And I'll see you guys tomorrow on TikTok, bedtime stories. And then on Sunday, we're not at 20,000. Thanks, sweet dreams, NJ. Well, we'll have to aim for 20,000 next stream. How about that? So, streaming the next chapters tomorrow night, and then Sunday evening, I will be doing a dual stream with Average Calamities. So, I'll see you guys. Oh my goodness. Alright, have a good night, everybody, and get some good rest. Bye.